Okay, so the observation has taken place. You're the mentor meeting with your student teacher afterwards. But again, we've got to acknowledge that they're going to find certain things quite challenging. So Scott, tell us about some of those challenges.
So first and foremost, reflection is going to be a challenge many students are going to be faced with. Seeing beyond that surface level understanding and beginning to show an awareness of the complexities of what they've observed. That's definitely a hurdle that student teachers are going to have to overcome.
And a couple more challenges that you've identified, Lauren.
Yeah, so applying what they've observed in their own practice, making it their own, and then are they able to plan their next steps? So move beyond that reflection and into action.
Okay, so again, with those challenges in mind, starting with this issue of reflection and reflecting on what just happened, what strategies can we suggest to mentors to really guide them in that and ensure, as you mentioned earlier on, that reflection is quite deep and that they're going to really learn from it?
Well, as we know, reflection is not an easy process, and it is challenging to think about what you are thinking about. So there are reflective models to help scaffold the thinking available on the PLP for mentors and senior mentors to use. These are by Driscoll, by Bain, by Gibbs and by Kolb. So these structures support student teachers in moving away from the surface level of understanding and developing that deeper level, linking the theory, the practice with their personal experiences. It also deepens the student teacher's understanding of how to critically analyse their own teaching and, again, how to identify what is effective and what is not. But, if these models are not working for your student or if they would prefer to use a different resource, there are multiple different things on the clinical practice guide that mentors can use to support their conversations around reflection. So these are the mentoring conversation guide and the clinical reasoning practice prompts. So these are to help the student teachers develop a clearer understanding of what they have observed. And then these reflections can either be written or they can be in verbal or in audio form.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And still, Lauren, we can have student teachers that might need an extra intervention before they can engage in that reflective dialogue with their mentor. So what would you suggest for those sorts of student teachers?
So for those who are still finding it quite challenging, the mentors could model self-reflection. So it could be a lesson that has been recorded that they watch, or it could be a lesson that the student has just observed and the mentor would just self-reflect in front of the student teacher to exemplify how it should or could be done, which then also could be recorded.
Yes, of course. And they can sort of come back to that as a model of good practice to support them in taking that forward in their own. Then we've got this issue of being able to sort of apply or to sort of translate what they've learned from the observation and all that good reflection into action, into practice. What would you recommend mentors do to sort of smoothen out that transition process?
So one thing they could do is to team plan next steps. Encourage the student to explain out loud what it is they're planning and why. This then enables the mentor to see exactly what the student has been able to take away and implement and make judgments about what further support might be required, for example. They could also encourage then and direct the student teacher to start making those connections between what they've read, what they've seen and their own practice. Encourage them to try strategies that they've seen, but to make sure they adapt them to suit their own personality and their own context, because I find often student teachers try to emulate and copy their mentor or other classroom teachers, but 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work for them. They have to find their own way. They have to become their own teacher. So it's about the mentor encouraging them to try the things they've seen, but to adapt it so it suits them and their character and their context, especially when moving from CP1 to CP2 and further beyond again then.
And I just want to add as well that student teachers need to remember that reflection is an essential part of the process, and, in changing strategies and changing ways of working and ways of thinking is good.
Yes.
And we all do it day in, day out as practitioners. So the more practice that they get earlier on, the better they will get at being reflective practitioners moving through their career.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose just asking the question, what might this look like if it's successful in your practice, could get those cogs turning and help them to put that into action. Thank you very much.